Hey guys, Dozer here bringing you a new video. Been a really busy time of the year for me. I just got married about a month ago now, just got done with all the honeymoon and coming back to reality with my job and everything. And nationals, US nationals for Flesh and Blood. So, been a really wild ride. And I want to give a little bit of a nationals recap as well as a bit of a high seas set review and just kind of give my thoughts on the state of the game. So hope you enjoy the story time and we'll get right into it. So right off the bat, yeah, just real quick, life event. A month ago, I got married. I'm very, very happy. It's just been a really wonderful time getting to share this time with my wife, as well as all of these wonderful people in my life who I've met through Flesh and Blood and otherwise, coming to celebrate us coming together like that. And just real quick thing, I actually met my wife through a friend that I made through Flesh and Blood. So Flesh and Blood has an even more special place in my heart than it already has. And so I hope that everybody out there appreciates how good our community is, where we can have these people who come together and form these wonderful just groups of people who can connect you to even more wonderful people. So definitely make sure you go to your armories, make sure you get involved with the community. Everyone that I've ever met in Flesh and Blood has been wonderful and friendly and kind and open. So definitely don't miss out on this wonderful thing we've got going on here. Second thing, right after that, basically, U.S. Nationals came and went. We'll pull up the we can pull up the deck list here that I brought to Nats here. We didn't. Oh, that's not mine. That's someone else's. No, this is the one I brought. So basically, I played Prism at US Nats. I was planning on dodging Florians, and I brought a almost entirely Herald aggro list. It's very interesting of a list, I think. It definitely performed well for me. My matchups were Syndra, Prism, Syndra, Arachne slipped through the cracks, and then a KO. I did not make day two for the first time at a major. This was definitely a very competitive field, and I was not very prepped with all my, as aforementioned, things that were keeping me busy. So I didn't really come the most prepared for Fab, especially on the draft portion. I got obliterated in draft by one of my locals. Shout out to Terrence for sending me to my watery grave in nationals. But I'll just briefly talk about the Prism deck list here. I called it the Bulldozer list because it's very aggressive and it's a callback to the kind of not only the Bull Lander, where you're having very efficient attacks, but also steamrolling on ahead. You'll notice right off the bat that I'm running some unique equipment choices. Arcanite Fortress is a chess piece which gives you 2 Guardwell. So it blocks for 2 once per game, and then it also has Spell Void too when you're equipping the Arcanite Skullcap, which you should be because it's like a set bonus. Very useful in the Florian matchup I found when you're trying to be aggressive. You're not going to hit with your Heralds very often, and so you're not going to be able to flip your Angels for free off of Empyrean Rapture. And I did not like the idea of running a lot of no blocks with a hybrid Aura and Angel plan, or hybrid Aura and Herald plan. So I ended up going for more of the Arcanite Fortress and Skullcap plan to get a bit more of extra armor, because I found that if I wanted to be aggressive into Florian, Face Purgatory was extremely powerful and very good at slowing down Prism. And so using Arcanite Fortress to absorb a little bit more of that health barrier, and using the Spell Void to stop a Rune Chant to give you that a little bit of extra card advantage so you don't have to give an entire card to keep an Angel alive, worked out pretty well for me. It makes the games go very long, and you definitely need to hit Library, but Arcanite Fortress was surprisingly good, and there are definitely some other matchups where I think it can be useful when paired with the Skullcap, but overall it was just nice to try it. My whole thought of running it was that if you're not going to hit with your Heralds anyway, and you're not going to have a good Aura matchup because you have a lot of no blocks and they're going to be very aggressive, then Arcanite Fortress is going to give you more value than either of those options. Although obviously you can play around stuff with Vestige. I didn't really feel like playing that build, so I brought this very aggressive build, trying to capitalize on the Syndras, Kanos, Azaleas, and more of those aggressive option wizards, right, in general, which ended up being a very good thing to bring because, as we all know, Verdant's won U.S. Nationals. Gravy Bones is very powerful, had a very big breakout performance, and Prism does quite well in both of those heroes, but it's not a free win. Wizard is definitely much more powerful now than they ever have been, especially with the card Burn Bear, giving them a instant speedway to pop your Phantasm. Very, very powerful card, as well as to go over the top and break through your Angels. So overall, all the rest of the stuff here is pretty standard. Calming Gesture for Arcane Barrier, Empyrean Rapture for Herald matchups we're going to hit. Goliath Gauntlet, I think, is a much more aggressive choice than Dreamweavers. I feel like Dreamweavers is kind of a band-aid card or more of a crutch, whereas Goliath Gauntlet lets you push aggression when you know that your opponent probably cannot pop you, or you set it up so that they are not able to pop you. It also synergizes with generics quite well, whereas Dreamweavers is really only good at mitigating the downside that you have. Halo of Illumination, obviously very powerful toolbox card for Prism. Luminara's Angel's Glow for the go again on your Heralds and Angels for free by pitching your yellows. Phantasmal Footsteps, classic Prism card. The only thing that really stands out here, additionally, besides the Skull Cap, which did perform extremely well, by the way, I must say, was Quick Dodge Flexors. Having the ability to dump some resources during a game where you're not likely to get popped, like for Syndra, very, very powerful at covering some of those breakpoints, and then you go very wide, especially when you draw a lot of figments on your turn. Otherwise, I ran a very standard Herald package with some sideboard tech specifically for these more current matchups. So Array Space was in there for Syndra and Florian and Earth Heroes in general. I didn't really bring it into Prism as a popper, but it is quite strong at slowing people down because normally Prism's benefit from her on hits are only for herself. And so Array Space being able to slow your opponent down and gate their speed is very important and really demand that people block you as well. Command and Conquer, obviously very powerful, very, very, very powerful card. And it's funny, all my placements in big tournaments like Nationals and Callings and stuff have always done much better when I don't run Command and Conquer. So maybe I should stop running Command and Conquer in my decks. But it performed well all weekend. It was really great. Then we had Shelter from the Storm, very, 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 very powerful defense reaction. Extremely good at covering the Assassin and Ninja matchups so that you can keep your Angels alive easier. It performed extremely well for me all day, and I loved running the card for Prism. Because I was running a very low Spectra plan, in fact, I ran only Pierce Reality in the entire deck list, Essence of Ancestry Body was very, very powerful because I could almost always guarantee that I would be able to resolve the secondary effect of negating the next red card my opponent threw at me. And so using this into, again, Syndra, into even Florian, if he throws Rune Chains at you, you can have your Essence of Ancestry Body die, and then their Felling does 0 damage. So very, 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 very powerful card situationally. It can be played around, though, so you have to be very careful, but it blocks 3, and it's a good way to end your turn when you don't want to end on a card such as maybe Passing Mirage, which doesn't actually give you value in a lot of these aggro matchups. I also correctly read that Guardian was going to be very underrepresented, and so was Brute at the tournament, and so I omitted a lot of very key cards for those matchups, specifically Spectras like Genesis, Merciful Retribution, Parable of Humility, Arclight Sentinel, and Passing Mirage, so that I had more room for more of these tech cards for the matchups I expected to see. 9 Triumph, standard, doesn't get popped very easily. Mirage Metamorph is a 1-cost 7-power card, and that's generally all I was using it for. Being able to throw a card for like any Herald by pitching a yellow. If you hit with it, you get to flip your Angel. If you pitch a blue, you get to have that 1 resource floating. And so your 4th card can then be a Metamorph or a War Tune or who knows, so many different 1-cost high-power cards like Symbiosis, Phantasmal Symbiosis, that is. So Metamorph, very efficient. Being able to send a 3-card 14 multiple turns in a row, quite nice. When you throw like the War Tune into the Metamorph or War Tune into Symbiosis, it's just very efficient damage. Beyond that, 9 War Tune, very good card. 3 Angelic Wrath. I didn't run any reds or blues of this. I like minimizing the no blocks in my deck and having more agency in my matchups. And you only really need this a couple times per game because, generally speaking, if you're going to use a whole card to do 3 damage, you could have just sent another Herald for 6 damage, and you probably could have gotten more cards out of your opponent. And obviously the attack react portion is useful, but I was happy running just the yellows. I ran Battlefront Bastion as a popper and as a way to combat the Flick Knives equipment that Assassins and Ninjas have been running. It does do that well, and it did perform well, but oh man, if this card could block 3, it'd be even more incredible. Dissolve Reality was mainly in here for Ranger. I wasn't sure how represented Marlin or Azalea were going to be, and so I made sure to bring Dissolve Reality so I could get rid of their arsenals, have a 3-block yellow card, and just move on about my day. I only ran 6 Figments. I omitted Rebirth and Tenacity because those are the most niche in the Herald aggro plan, and actually in a lot of my matchups, I sided out a lot of Herald Figments. So obviously you always bring Erudition, you always bring Ravages and Protection, and sometimes you bring Valor, but a lot of the times I only ran 4 Figments in my lists against aggro heroes because I knew that I would not be able to play them all, or that the game would not last long enough to use them all. And so mitigating the amount of 0 block hands that I had was very important to me and worked out well in my matchups. My matchups basically were I played against Syndra, I won. Played the Prism Mirror, I narrowly lost. My opponent played better. I played against Syndra, I won that one as well. And then I played against Wrecking Slip Through the Cracks. I was doing very well, but I got blown out by some big attack reacts that I couldn't really do anything about, so got nearly beaten there. And then played against a KO because I was 2-2, and was no longer in the winner's bracket anymore, and that matchup was definitely a loss. So this deck does not have the ability to combat Brute. So totally fine there. Herald of Erudition, standard, Judgment, standard, blue and yellow protections. You need some blue cards to pay for your footsteps on some turns, and protection covers you with special shields when you're trying to keep your angels alive. Very good. Yellow heralds like Ravages and Tenacity are just good for value. And then we've got Phantasmal Symbiosis, which is another copy of War Tomb that just doesn't go to Soul. And then we've got 2 Pierce Reality. I didn't run this in a lot of matchups, but it is a good way to punish low action point heroes that can't really afford to get rid of it, namely Ranger and things like that. But it is very powerful when you do get to stick it. And then I was running 2 Ripple Away for the Pirate heroes, as well as Assassins and stuff like that, because if they're going to do a Codex, then I could possibly discard this card as my last card, get a free card back, and cover maybe the Leave No Witness or something with a Angel, right? So it didn't really work out that way, but I did get to snipe a Marlin trying to cast the Tip the Barkeep. So I had to deny the Gold Kiss Rum token, which was sweet. And that was the whole list. So it performed well. I had a really good time running it. It felt very fair. Like all the matchups that I played, and then in side events too, were very close games. I played against Verdances, won against a Verdance, lost against a Verdance. I played against 2 Fangs. I played against an Acilio, Florian, a whole Marlin, a whole bunch of decks, and it was a lot of fun. The deck plays very well, and I recommend giving it a shot if you want to enjoy it while in this meta while we can, before Guardian Mastery Pack comes out and probably ruins our day on this build anyway. Beyond that, after Nationals, so I didn't do super duper hot. Normally I do pretty well at Majors and get in the top 64, top 32, somewhere around there. But this time I just had fun. It was at Vegas, so I got to bring my wife and we got to hang out with people, and shout out to all of the Fab friends. You guys know who you are. We've got a really great group of people just from Eastern US who come together and get to spend a lot of time together at these events. So always appreciate seeing y'all out there. But yeah, so Gravy Bones came out and just absolutely showed up at Nats. Very cool to see. I've been extremely excited for Gravy Bones since he was announced because I love the undead necromancer archetype. I'm not just the pretty girl fab guy out there. The Prisms and the Dromides and the Lexis and Icelanders, you name it. I quite like Gravy Bones. I quite like his aesthetic, and I've already built pretty much this entire deck. These are the cards I actually own, right? I don't have a 3rd Chum yet, and I don't have what is it? I don't have more Give No Quarters, but I've been really enjoying the deck. The deck is super fun to play. I have been just loving the gameplay and the deck building and the metagame impact. Gravy Bones, I think, is a slam dunk. So if you are interested in playing, Prism or Illusionist or in general Wizards, Gravy Bones has a lot of the same things to him. And yeah, the cards in some cases are a little overpriced depending on what you're going for. But overall, if you liked Monarch Prism, like back in the day, old boomer Prism like I did, this guy definitely ticks a very similar box. And while he doesn't have a great matchup into a lot of good heroes that are out, like Syndra and Prism, he is very powerful and he's very, very, very fun to pilot. So I've been really enjoying that, going to armories and stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the other nationals coming along and seeing how people innovate now that we've got new Hidden Living Legend and a whole bunch of other heroes on their way out as well. It's just been a great time to be in Flesh and Blood, and I hope you all have been having a good time with that as well. I have not been producing a lot of content as of late, but it has been really great to meet a lot of the people out there who said hi right at Nationals, who recognized me from the channel. It's always fun to know that even though Fab is kind of a smaller community, in that you might take a break here and there. You can come back and people will not just forget about you. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for watching. I don't really have a lot to say today. I will say that the draft for High Seas has been fantastic. I've been really enjoying it, and I'm just excited to see what LSS does next. Marlin's really cool. Puffin's really cool. Gravy Bones is really cool. I think adding in a new class like they've done with Necromancer has worked really well. Much better than the introduction of Assassin and arguably Illusionist, although it's kind of similar to how when Prism was added, she did. I mean, she was powerful right out the gate. People didn't really know how to handle her, and she had some very polarizing, powerful things. But at the same time, I think Gravy Bones is strong, but has weaknesses, and hopefully people will start to learn how to exploit those as time goes on. And I will say that if you have any other things about like Verdance that you want to talk about on the channel, I'm very interested in considering continuing to pursue her. Verdance has gotten a lot of good tools out of the High Seas set, such as the Punamu Amulet and the Burn Bear. I mean, Burn Bear is an incredible card. Deserves a whole video on its own, really, for how impactful it's been, not only in the Illusions matchups, which it was designed for, but even just as a normal wizard card that is unable to be pitched and blocks 3 and does 6 arcane. I mean, it's just a really interesting card to add to the card pool. And yeah, so let's keep our eyes out on all the nationals that are coming up. Let's keep an eye out on Gravy Bones and all the other cool stuff. Prism did get the Herald of Seken recently, which, if you're not familiar, it's a illusionist card, and specifically for Prism, and basically, if I can type, when it attacks, you get to put a yellow card from your hand into your soul, and if you do, you can deal 2 arcane to any target, and it has Phantasm. Cost 2, 7 power, so it's basically a standard Herald stat line, but instead of going to soul on hit, it puts a card from your hand into soul, kind of like charging, but it makes the charge do 2 arcane, like if you were Bolton. Now, we all know that Bolton is not a very strong hero, and so Herald of Seken, to me, has not ever really pulled its weight. When I've tried to play around with it, it's very rare that you actually have a hand where you want to put an entire yellow card into your hand to do 2 arcane and get a Figment. It's just not really a great value proposition. And if this were a yellow card, you definitely run it. But I'm currently not really big on it because you don't want to run this in your aura matchups because it's red, right? And reds are a huge liability when your cards cost 4 or more. On top of that, it does not go to soul on hit itself, so it does break a lot of the normal playlines that Prism does, where you send a 2-card 7, and then if it hits, you get to flip your Angel for free. This does not do that, so it's not as great in an aggro matchup for Prism, and so I'm not really big on this card. It's probably even, I mean, it's hard to be worse than the Warcry of Themis or some of these other really niche Prism cards, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm happy to have it in the binder, and if it ever becomes meta relevant, we'll run it. But and the artwork's really good, but not really making the most waves right now for Prism. Not really what she needs, and we'll see if LSS continues to give Prism support in anticipation for Monarch 3. We don't know what it's called yet. We don't know when it's coming exactly, but we do know that the 3rd chapter of the Monarch saga is on its way. We do know that they are going to bring back Light and Shadow, and we can be very confident that Prism is going to have another retrain along that same time. So probably with the return of Chain, if I had to guess. And it's my pet theory that we're going to get a Light and Shadow Prism, come like hybrid hero. I think that'd be really cool, like a corrupted Prisms type of thing. But we'll see what LSS does. In the meantime, check out all of the other great content creators that are out there right now. I know that even if this channel does not put out a lot of content, there are people that are really putting the work in to get good videos out there, like AgroBlaze96. Give Zach some love. He does a lot of great work, a lot of great streams, and so many other content creators, like Majin Bay, who won US Nats, does the, I think it's the World Tour Weekly on the Flesh and Blood YouTube channel, and you've probably seen that. So definitely give a lot of the other creators some love. They have been doing really great stuff, and we'll be doing some more gameplay videos, I think. I'm not really super in a hurry to play a lot of Prism. There's not really a lot of solving to do. She's pretty solved, And currently, Smurf Fab, Kevin Murphy, he's been doing a really great job making educational Prism content. So that saved me a lot of work. And so I appreciate him doing that. And so you definitely check his stuff out too. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me on this story time. And I hope to see you guys in the next video and hope that soon. So otherwise, take care. Have a good day and let me know how your past month in Fab has been. Whether did you go to nationals? Have you been playing Gravy Bones and enjoying him? Have you been lamenting over the price of a lot of the new cards and the availability of the product? Just let me know your thoughts on Fab in the comments down below. I love reading it and I will be sure to respond. So have a good day and take care. Peace.